Welcome to Mommy's on a Call, your sacred space to laugh, learn, and feel like a real grown-up human for a hot minute. I'm Stephanie Uchima Carney, a mom of 3 under 6, serial entrepreneur, business strategist, and donut connoisseur, just trying to get through the day one cold cup of coffee at a time. I believe that with more intention, a positive mindset, and self-care, it is possible to thrive in motherhood, business, and life. My mission is to uncover the daily rituals, life lessons, real-life tactics, and favorite tools to inspire and empower you, mommy, to get the most out of life every single unpredictable day. So grab your headphones, tell your kids you're on the potty, and tune in weekly for some laughs, knowledge bombs, and plenty of real talk with real moms, and maybe a dad or two. Welcome to the Mommy Pod. Hi, friends. Welcome back to Mommy's on a Call. Happy March and happy just happened International Women's Day. I feel like everything passed by so quickly. 2022 has been blowing by, but I just wanted to check in with all of you on how you're doing. For me, it's been a little bit of a rough start, and I'm not going to lie, as I record this, I just hung up with one of my girlfriends telling her that I've never felt so drained, just so I have nothing more to give. This last couple months have been really rough, and not even because of COVID, but because of everything else going on in the world and also on the home front. February was spent with my kids having the stomach flu. It waterfalled through our house, and I had a daughter who was throwing up and an ER visit, and between vomit cleanup, sleepless nights, I then decided to take a last minute 2-week stint as a substitute teacher teaching 6th grade math. It sounds kind of crazy that I would do that in the middle of everything, but it was kind of fun. And so, for those of you who don't know, I actually was a math and physics major in college. And so it brought me back to being able to use my brain. And I also didn't realize how much I missed being around other people. Even though I had the masks on in the classroom, the feeling of going to work every day with other humans, putting on real life clothes, it was a nice little reset from the everyday yoga pants and mommy gear that I've been wearing for the last 2 years. And I really also forgot how much I missed being part of a team. I missed that human interaction that I got on a daily basis. So that helped me get my cup full. But now moving on to other things is the next season of Mommy's on a Call and what to expect moving forward. I know we've had a little bit of a break and I've only been releasing episodes every other week and I missed a couple, but now we are back into full recording and I'm really excited because the last time I released an episode was actually an episode I recorded in 2021. So that was the last episode that I had recorded last year. So moving forward, all of these are going to be interviews that I have recorded in 2022. And after spending a lot of time reflecting on what the episodes were that were your favorites, what topics you wanted to hear about, and also what was aligned in what I believed in and what I was interested and curious about, I realized that there was this common trend and a common theme, and that theme was wellness. And I'm not just talking self-care, nutrition, and fitness and that sort of wellness, but the overall concept of that there's this multidimensional wellness. I get the question a lot from people, how do you do it all with 3 kids? And the truth is, I definitely don't do it all. And I don't have lavish days of just me time while the kids are in childcare. I myself was actually curious, like, how do I do it all? Like, what is my fuel? How do I manage to do this? Because trust me, I'm like the worst at time management. If you ask my husband, he thinks like, yeah. Anyway, we're not even going down that road because I should never teach productivity because that is not my skill set. Although when it does come to business, I am an organized ninja. And when I was doing wedding planning, I was definitely super on top of it, hyper organized. But in my personal life, not so much. So over the last kind of month, as I was reflecting back, dealing with sick kids, not to mention this week I was at home because my daughter had 105 fever and just sitting back and really like looking at things and seeing what's important. I realized, wow, it's really wellness. Back in January, I released that episode about going to Joshua Tree. It wasn't until I started digging deeper into that spiritual side, which is a side of me that I've neglected almost my entire life. And I'm not talking about like going to church or getting tarot card readings. And that is spiritual for some. But for me, spiritual means meditation, gratitude, and tapping into my connection with the universe and uncovering a sense of purpose and meaning in life and asking questions. And the answers started to appear and the picture became clearer. For those of you who also might not know, is spirituality is actually a deep part of my history. My grandmother was a Japanese Buddhist priestess. She was a practicing priestess until the day she passed away. Our house that we actually currently live in used to be a Japanese temple, and it's now our children's playroom and TV room. But it's actually really interesting because a lot of what I grew up with, I sort of suppressed. And it wasn't until I started thinking about it and becoming curious about Buddhism, spirituality, the universe, meditation, answers started to appear. And maybe it's, reticular activation where I started noticing things because I was looking for them more. I started to realize like, it's this wellness thing, but what is it? And every time I would see like a meme on Instagram about motherhood, about the hot mess mom and all this, like, yes, I laughed and I was like, yep, I feel like that's kind of my life. I also felt like, no, Stephanie, like we have the power to change this. Like it doesn't have to look this way. We can feel those things, but we can also have control over those feelings. And it doesn't require 2 hours of an unrealistic morning routine or day spending getting massages or this like glorified idea of what quote self-care should look like. As moms, we can integrate real wellness into our daily lives if we look at it from a more holistic perspective instead of just quick fixes. And so, through this podcast, Mommy's on a Call, my curiosity has always led me down the path of researching different aspects of motherhood, from parenting to mental and emotional health, to physical health, to relationships, to career, etc. And what I start to uncover is that something that has been established for decades I never knew about, and it was called the multiple dimensions of wellness. In my mind, wellness was only about physical and mental health. I never realized there's actually 8 dimensions of wellness, which are physical, mental, emotional, spiritual, environmental, social, occupational, intellectual, and financial. Some people see only 6 dimensions, some people see more, but those are the ones that really stuck out for me. When I started analyzing the actions and data of what I've been doing over the past 5 years, I discovered that by focusing on at least 2 to 3 of these areas of wellness a day, everything started changing. You might be saying, like, I'm a busy mom. I don't have time to do this. But even in my interviews, all of the common threads, things that I would ask all of these moms on, like, how they accomplished things, how they did this, it expanded farther than just great boundaries. It went deeper into like relationships, which is social. It went deeper into like, oh, I have a great meditation practice or gratitude practice, which is more on the spiritual side. It went into, oh, I get up every day and I work out, which is physical. Or, oh, my passion is in building companies. I don't have mom guilt because me showing up for work and building something, which is occupational, career oriented, is a form of wellness. Or it might be financial. So there were all of these different things that I started seeing pop out at me, like jumping out at me that, like, wow, these women who I think are successful and who I think are grounded and I wanted to learn from have these things. So what happens if I take some of these and I start to implement it? What would that look like? So I started pulling from the different podcast episodes and I started to implement all the things that they were saying that resonated with me. Now, I didn't do it all, but I did a lot of them. And I started to just play around with it. What if I tried to eat this way? Or what if I tried this certain practice? Or, I was curious. And in the end, it was interesting. I started to realize like I was changing and that I was more energetic. I started to be more calm. My parents always say, like, I don't understand. Your 3 kids yell all the time. How do you sit there and be so calm? And in the end, these practices I started implementing started to reflect on who I was and how I showed up in my family, in relationships, at work, etc. And I realized it started making me a better parent and in the end, a better person. So, what happens if we start to integrate all of these different aspects of wellness into your daily life and even into your kids' lives? Could we achieve more calm, joy, and energy in your life? And I think we can. So that led me to thinking, what type of guests do I want to bring on this show? So I'm pivoting the podcast a little to focus more on wellness. So, over the next season, I want to introduce you to the different dimensions of wellness in the context of being a busy mom. The episodes will be a mix of my own episodes explaining one of these dimensions and also bringing top experts that are aligned with one of these many different areas to spark and inspire you to pursue more in the area of mom wellness. So, whether it's a career coach or a badass founder who built a company as a mom to help you fuel that occupational side, or a hormone expert to spark your intellectual curiosity on physical wellness, or a parenting or relationship expert to help with social wellness, I want to bring to you all of these resources so that this podcast can continue to educate, inspire, and give you resources to help you thrive in motherhood and life. So, on that note, all of this led me down this path of really doing research and thinking. And I did something a little crazy. One of the things besides spirituality I realized that was lacking in my life is my passion for learning. I love learning, which is why I love interviewing all of these different people. I'm so curious on learning different things. But one of the things that I've always been interested in is actually health and nutrition because I have so many physical issues and health issues, and then dealing with everything that's been going on, I started to look really deeper into that. My mom actually worked in cardiac rehab and was a nutritionist for people recovering from heart surgery. And so I grew up in a household where we were always eating low fat, low carb, whatever that might be. And I always kind of shunned that. And then later in life, I realized, okay, I can't keep eating like shit because that's what I was doing. And so I started to be more curious into what is paleo, what is whole 30, what is keto. And back in 2010, I launched a blog called Cupcakes to CrossFit. It doesn't exist anymore, but a lot of the recipes and a lot of the ideas still remain out there somewhere on the interwebs. And through Cupcakes to CrossFit, I gained a huge following in the wellness space. And because not a lot of women knew about this stuff. And then it led into motherhood, and I was starting to get hormone issues and all of these things. And I thought there has to be more out there. I can't keep taking medicine and antacids to fix things. I can't keep having seasonal allergies and all of these different things. And so I started to research more holistic practices. And so I did something crazy. Even though I have different degrees and I went to grad school and I have 2 master's degrees, I decided that I would actually sign up to get a certificate in health and wellness coaching. So I just joined the Institute for Integrative Nutrition, or IIN, because I want to learn more about fixing us from the inside out, beyond just nutrition, but lifestyle changes. And so that is my passion. That is something that I want to bring to the podcast. So moving forward, you're going to hear from experts that deal with all different types of wellness. And then you're going to hear insights from me on things that I'm learning and I'm interested, and trial and error on things that I've been practicing. I might do an episode. I started taking different Chinese medicine herbs. Like, how is that going? And so hopefully you guys stick around. This is geared towards moms and how to help you as a mom thrive in motherhood and life. So join me next week on the podcast, and I will see you then.
Thank you so much for listening to this episode of Mommy's on a Call. Your support means the absolute world to me. You can find the show notes for this episode and other goodies over at mommysonacall.com. And if you enjoyed this episode or have gotten value from the podcast, I would be so grateful if you could head on over to Apple Podcasts and leave a rating and review so that we can reach and empower more moms all over the world together. Thank you so much again, Mommy Pod, and I will see you here next time.